Hi, this video is going to step you through what's required for Assessment 1. So here we are in the Assessment folder, and you can see that there are instruction sheets for each one of the assessments in a Word format and PDF for your convenience. So it's really important that you read these instructions regardless of what I might say in my regular emails, etc., or what your fellow students are saying to you. You need to ensure that you meet all the criteria in the assessment. I mean, in fact, when I mark it, I go back to the assessment to look at that criteria. So, for example, when we look at Assessment 1, it reminds you that you need to be on campus to answer the quiz. So it also gives you helpful tips, but it tells you need to get all the questions answered correctly. In Assessment 3, it gives you tips like make sure that when you answer you use the exact headings that are in the assessment. And this kind of thing is quite important because when it comes time to mark, it's much easier for me and it's easier for other students that they're looking at your work as well. It'll give you tips on how many words you should use approximately. And really, as I said, when I mark, I'm just checking that you've done and answered each question. So you've answered, 3A, 3B, and so on. So double check that you have done that. Alright, but back to Assessment 1, the instruction sheet for this is actually quite brief because it's really just telling you that you'll be doing your assessment online in the form of a quiz on Blackboard. But as I mentioned, it does have useful info such as quizzes 2 and 3, you're able to do those from home, but quiz 1 might require you to actually visit a physical space on the campus. So you probably want to do that quiz when you're on campus. It also reminds you things like that you're expected to answer all the questions correctly, and you get 2 opportunities for the quiz. So let's have a look at the quiz and I'll explain that a little bit more. So here we are in the assessment area, that's when the instructions are, but when it comes time to actually submit the assessment, you want to follow the Submit Assessment link. Okay. We'll go into Assessment 1 because there are 3 parts to Assessment 1. Okay. And we'll have a look at an example quiz. So we'll go Begin. You can see there's a style of questions and read my instructions. In this case, I'm reminding you there's more than one answer. Sometimes there are images to open and other resources. These clickable ones, if you have any issues with them, just clear and try clicking again. If there are any issues, let me know via email. But you'll go through the quizzes. It's quite self-explanatory. You can save the answers and return to it before you submit, or you could submit. It's just letting me know I haven't answered all the questions, and you'll be able to see how well you went pretty much straight away. The idea of this is if you didn't get all the answers correct, so in this case it's partial, I got 2 of the 4, you need to now sort of take note of what you need to improve on and go back to your learning resources and double check that material. Okay? So, for example, if there was a question on, say, duty of care, you would go back to your learning resources for OC Health and Safety, and you'll find that I've actually been quite specific with that one, that there was a PowerPoint, and in that PowerPoint it does talk about what a duty of care is. Alternatively, you can actually Google most of these terms as another source of information. But yes, so you can then actually go back to submitting your assessment after you've sort of studied up on the quiz, and you'll be able to go through that process again, and it will actually probably tell you that this is, it says attempt number 3, but as a student you will only get the 2 attempts. Okay. So we can close that down. Now, when should you do this assessment? Well, it comes back to the session schedule. Okay, so I'll just open, actually I have it open in a new window. Have a look. So I'm sort of giving you tips on what you should be reading. So in this week 2's course materials, the PowerPoint we just mentioned, And week 2, sort of walking around and familiarising yourself with level 1 of H-Block, and then you'll probably be ready to do part A, that first quiz from the assessment folder. Likewise, it sort of gets you to go through some general material, and then you should be ready to complete quizzes B and C. You can actually go ahead and complete these as soon as you like. The important thing is, if you have a look on the schedule, in week 6, if you haven't gotten all the answers correct for your quizzes, you can try to have your second resubmission then. Really, you could have done it earlier. This is almost like the last date you should be thinking about it. And certainly by week 7, I would expect everybody to have completed all 3 parts of the quiz, part A, B and C, and to have had their second attempt. Okay, so it's almost like that assessment should be done and dusted. If you find that you don't get all the answers correct, but it's very close, I've asked that you email me just to remind me to go in and do an individual assessment for you. So by that I mean is if you got one wrong but you knew the answer, or perhaps something happened from the technical side of things, Blackboard didn't accept the answer you were putting in, etc., don't panic. Everything with the online course generally can be sorted out with a quick email, or if we need to, we'll just catch up for 5 minutes face to face and we'll sort it out. Okay? And I guess that really is an overview of Assessment 1. All I can do is remind you that your grades will be in your results area as well. Okay, so we should finish here and we'll go on to Assessment 2.